All right. You are listening to Midlife Crisis, the number one millennial podcast with
Just the right amount of overthinking.
we are two lifelong friends taking on life, culture, sports, and the undefeated Father Time. If you are a weekly listener or if this is your first time with us, welcome. I'm Adrian,
I'm Jeff.
and let's get into episode 31. Today we have a guest, Sterling Hampton. Sterling and I have been friends since high school. Sterling shot some of my early videos when I was doing music, and that's kind of how we built our friendship. Sterling is a multi-hyphenate creative who writes, directs, produces, photographs, and even composes his own music. He started making documentaries and narrative films in high school and has built his own production company, KOTAM, Clash of the Artistic Minds, to bring his ambitious visions to life. Sterling's work already spans major brands and talent, from music videos to commercial campaigns, and features in major festivals, which we will discuss. What makes him especially relevant to our show is this: his career is exactly the kind of journey many of us in our 30s are living out. Ambitious, multifaceted, full of pivots, reflections, and reinventions. And that looking back at what I thought I'd be versus where I am now lens we are aiming to explore. So buckle up. We got an hour of conversations with our friend here, digging into his story and his creative process and getting his take on what success means now versus what it meant back when he was younger. Let's go.
Let's roll.
All right, Sterling, for people who might not know who you are or what you do, give us what you do and something that you're working on right now.
Yeah, sure. I'm really grateful to be on the pod. Thank you guys for having me on. It's really special because we go back to our city and Inland Empire and where we grew up at and stuff. So it'd be cool. I'm a director. I'm also a photographer, editor. I'm also the CEO and founder of a production company called Clash of the Artistic Minds, shortened as an acronym to KOTAM. So that's basically my, when I at least say at cocktail parties.
Yep. Elevator pitch.
Right.
Yeah. Honestly, I feel like it's really hard to compress who you are and what you do because you do so much. And like I've known you since high school and I've seen like the development from day one. So I know how talented you are, and I've witnessed the process, the progress, and even as I was trying to think through like a way to introduce you for the pod, I was like, this doesn't really, it doesn't do justice. But thank you again for joining us.
When we were thinking of guests to have, you were the first one.
Yeah, Daniel was number 2. He just got lucky.
Yeah, but we were just thinking, okay, who would be great for this podcast? And immediately Sterling that was it. So thank you for coming on, man.
Hey, man, it's an honor and a privilege. Appreciate it.
For sure. So I actually don't even know. No, I do know the story, but I want to see if I remember it correctly. Can you walk us through like how you got started with film?
Yeah, right. So when I was like age 5, 10, it was like my whole life revolved around dance, actually. My whole dream was to become a famous choreographer, like a dance choreographer, go on tour with artists and stuff like that, and choreograph dance routines and such. I was a super big fan of movies like Step Up and Stomp the Yard and You Got Served and things of that nature. So at a certain point, at a certain juncture, I started filming. This is like, I'm 30 years old. So at this point, around 12, 11, 13, 14, that's like the jerkin era of dance.
Yes.
I had my own crew and I would film the videos of us dancing. So after a while, the dancing actually took more precedent or, primary interest over the dancing. Until after a while, it was like I was so infatuated with film production that that's what piqued my interest and focus.
So after the dance and you started to get into film, what was like your very first project that you can remember putting out into the world?
Right. So around like age 14, 15, I took the love of filmmaking with dance, and then I made my first ever short documentary project, which featured my next door neighbors at the time. They were these foster youth, and they were my best friends, actually. And I used to hang out with them and run around the city with them and have fun. And they would confide in me sometimes and tell me about what they were experiencing growing up. And then, I had them on camera and I would ask them and interview them formally about their trials and tribulations and things of that nature. That film that I shot with them and then edited my parents' bedroom, my mom suggested we go and submit it to a film festival.
Nice.
And it played at the Riverside International Film Festival in front of, adults and random people for the first time in an actual theater. So, at 15, 16, it takes about a year until you hear results from film festivals and such. I was in a room with grown adults and different people I'd never met before with a thing that I made in my bedroom on screen. And Radiohead tracks that were way too loud. I didn't know anything about mixing back then. And there's adults that are like weeping in the theater to something I had put together. And on a subconscious level, I really like saw and enjoyed that phenomenon, that experience of making something that gives people visceral emotions, reactions to something. At the time though, you're like 15, you're not, you don't live in Hollywood, you don't have any family in the entertainment industry. I had no sort of direction or aspiration in like a conscious context to say like, I want to go become Spielberg. That's like a foreign concept. I don't know how that works. I don't know how you go do a film for Universal at 15, 16 years old. So that's kind of the start of the whole thing.
Cool, man.
Yeah, I right now hearing you describe this story, I remember that film. I remember one time being at your house. I think this might have been around like when we shot like a video for a song that I had at the time called Letter to God. And it might have been this video might have been after. I could be getting the timeline mixed up, but something that you said that stuck with me. And even still, like, it's like, when I think of Sterling, this is what comes to mind. I remember we had a conversation and I asked you, we were talking about purpose as a creative, and you shared how all you wanted to do was create film with the intent to make people feel things and to kind of have like an influence in making people maybe not necessarily change their minds, but like just feel the emotion and have self-reflection on things that matter in life through experiencing your art, which is film. And that's always stuck with me from you. So
that's nuts. I didn't even realize we had a conversation where I had that concept sort of thought through already, to where I had like a voiceable, tangible thing to say about what my intentions were creatively. I think that I made a part 2 of that documentary because when you and I met, I think I was like 17 and you were 18 at the time. So I think I was probably making part 2. I remember we had all kinds of conversations that are really cool about creativity and art, at your house and stuff. So I'm surprised that I even said those words. Pretty wild.
Yeah, we would have a lot of moments where we would go on creative wormholes of conversation. But let me ask you this, right? Like just catching up to now, what's something that a project or accomplishment that you have felt proud of recently?
Right. So, I mean, it's funny. I'll answer your question in sort of a roundabout way. It's just starting at like age 26 that I'm getting off of planes, touring the world with musicians for years of my life, shooting music videos, content on tour and photography and things of that nature. I finally stopped and said, well, this is great. This has been kind of the dream. Around like 19, 20 years old, I'm in college. I'm thinking like, I want to go travel with artists and see the world and whatnot. And by the time I was like 24, 25, I had been to like 30 countries. So for all intents and purposes, I kind of lived that part of the dream out. But, I saw it really deep down, going back to that 14, 15-year-old self, thinking like, I don't know how to become Spielberg, but I want to make movies.
Yeah.
So at 26, I said, well, I got to go and change the way that I'm perceived from music video, content creator, videographer to like, this guy makes movies.
Yeah.
So,
Director.
and that requires you spending your own money, trying things out, trial and error to the max. And I made like 6 different short documentary films, a few of which, played at Sundance 2 years in a row, Tribeca and a bunch of other film festivals. And that was a real great, beautiful moment for me because historically in my life and within the generation that was in like artist photography and music videos and celebrity content world, you got off on the idea of like these photographs of G's are going to be so cool. Like I can't wait to post this up and put it on the gram. Yeah. And it's by association that made your work important.
As opposed to yourself.
Right. And so for the first time, when I started making like my own projects that I was self-funding and directing and by necessity editing and shooting and everything else, some of the cinematography and composing and mixing. For the first time, it was like I'm at the epicenter of the artwork.
Yeah.
And it was really beautiful to see that was possible. So it's like you were the currency at that point. So to directly answer your question, as of late, as a 30-year-old now, I'm in the middle of 2 feature-length documentary films about a prolific music artist. One from like the 60s and 70s up until like as of late, still like a crazy legend. This guy, like you've heard about all kinds of modern artist tracks and older tracks of his own in his own group. And then also about an amazing, it's kind of like a prequel to this mega super group as well that I'm working on. And then one of my own feature length projects is kind of like our like DIY punk rock do it yourself piece. I'm actually going to start posting about that next week as well, which I'm pretty excited about. And a bunch of music videos and commercials. I got to do stuff with like LG and Mercedes and things like that.
Yeah, now your resume is stacked. I guess something that we didn't specifically mention for context, and I'll mention it now. And it's one of those things where, like, I don't know about you, but a lot of people name drop, but like usually they do it for the wrong reasons. At least, growing up and people that were around entertainment spaces and in certain rooms. So to give clear context on like Sterling's background, Sterling has been on tour with G-Eazy. He has been in rooms with like the Black Eyed Peas members. He has, I mean, honestly, like you got to help me out here. Like this is, I'm sure there's plenty that you've done, and it's not necessarily to name drop. It's more to give context to, because there's people that listen, and it's like, obviously we're inviting you on and you're our friend, but just to like give clear, like you're not just someone that's just starting out. You've been in rooms with, heavy hitting creative
multiple
people.
Rooms.
Yeah, no, I can run that through. I mean, when I got to university, I studied philosophy at UC Riverside, and I was so like, I wanted to leave so bad.
Get out.
I think at one point I was supposed to go on tour with like Chris Brown or something. And then I actually I was so dedicated to like trying to figure this whole thing out and make it make sense, even just from like a fiscal perspective, that I filed a leave of absence. Right before I filed it, it fell through. And then I finished college, I had my degree and stuff. But I wanted there to be so much work that by the time I was a senior, it was like, why am I still here? Mm-hmm. And that worked out. So immediately after college, I was like touring with different artists. I toured with G-Eazy in North America. And then after that, I toured with this guy named Jake Miller.
I remember that.
Incredible artist as well. North America tour. I've been to at least probably like 40 of the 50 states. And then after that, I went on tour with a guy named Whit Lowry. My first time in Europe. To all the major, like Germany, France. Actually, I don't think we went to France. We went to like most of the major European spots. And then after that, that's when I got the attention from the Black Eyed Peas. They had like some kind of third party company doing their social media. And this was like further like we're back tour. Like, hey world, we're back as a group. Yeah. It's Black Eyed Peas. Mm-hmm. So then I toured with them. That's a whole wild story. Those guys, are legends, and they're like big brothers to me. And I'm really grateful for them to be in my life rather.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then, Taboo takes me under his wing. Will does the same. And then like I do a lot of stuff with both of them and Apple, of course, and J Ray. So, but yeah, Will's been like a crazy big brother to me. So I do a lot of work with him. I've done his Mercedes campaigns and his LG campaigns and stuff like that, where I've directed, photographed, helped creative direct and ideate concepts with him, so on and so forth. But that was like that stretch of like, 22 to like 26. I was doing that as far as content creation, videography, and then it graduated to like directing commercials and stuff like that.
Yeah, I remember I'd always be like, "Oh, what's Sterling up to?" Hey, send out a text. Oh, I'm in Germany right now. Off like 2 hours of sleep. Like, damn, dude. All right, I'll talk to you later when you get some sleep.
That was the reality, man. Because it would be a situation
It
where
was awesome.
tour life was nuts, man. Because you'd wake up at like 11 a.m. or 12, go to a venue. You're in Germany somewhere, and then you get shuffled off to the venue. You set up. You're getting ready to see like where the stages, all the different scaffolding and things like that, so you can sneak around. Show happens at like 11 p.m. until like 2 a.m. You go to the after party. They might do another concert at the after party. You go to the hotel, and then you take a shower, maybe. And then you might have to get on a flight and then fly over to like France or like Spain or some shit like that. And then like go do that all over again.
Yep.
So it was like that. I don't know how people do that for decades of their lives. But that's what was happening. That stretch.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously you've done a lot, and like, I'm going to repeat it again. I feel like it's so hard to consolidate everything that you've done into like just our podcast episode right now. But I want to transition to like reflecting on being younger and our younger selves. I mean, obviously a lot of, with me, you and I as friends, you've been a big part in my creative journey as well. And I just sent Johnny, who's another of our friends, a text, and I was reflecting on like all of the experiences that we had doing creative things together, and how grateful I am for those things, because they have directly impacted my life now as an adult, doing what I do, being a creative as well in my career. But to tie it to you specifically, I want you to walk us through thinking back to when you were in your early 20s. You can go back even more if you want to, start with teenagehood, and thinking ahead. If you had any concept of envisioning what your 30s would have been like, both personally and, professionally, how different is it? Like, how were you off? Were you like, oh, I made it happen? Like, where were we at?
Yeah, no, I think that's really important to talk about, because we all have these like preconceived notions, not even preconceived notions. We have these visions for ourselves at certain ages, and it's a positive thing, and it's also kind of a social disease, because you can have goals, and that's beautiful. That's good. That's what inspires and produces progress and productivity. When I was like 15, I don't think I really knew what I want. I knew I wanted to do dance, choreography, and then I loved doing videos.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think to myself I could make a career out of making videos. I applied to go to UCR as a political science major to go become a fucking lawyer.
Yeah.
Which would have been beautiful. That would have been awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And I just kept like shooting videos in college because I just loved doing it. And then like, I think I changed my major to philosophy like in the middle of it, just because like I couldn't stomach political like classes. It was kind of just boring to me at the time. But I love political theory, like Thomas Hobbes, like theory of like, human nature and things like that. And I love Nietzsche and like, Kant, Rousseau, all those cats. But to directly answer your question, like when I was 15, I think it was probably like a vision of being some kind of dance choreographer. Everybody wants to be rich, possibly famous, hot house, car, attractive partner, in whatever package that is.
I was waiting for that one.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So like, I think I had the vision of, directorial endeavors probably in college. Like, yeah, one day I want to go do like make movies and stuff. But even that was distorted, man. I feel like my dream I had the dream when I was younger. Like I'd love to be a Tarantino or like an Ava DuVernay, but I just didn't, it was so far-fetched. There was no way to track that or like go after that. So as time progressed, it was more like, well, I want to get paid to do photography. I want to get paid to go shoot like weddings and stuff. That's cool. And then I want to go shoot concerts. this guy and I have stories of us going to the Santa Ana Observatory where I'm shooting photos of him on stage, and then Action Bronson throwing PS3s into the audience.
Fucking nuts,
dude. Actual large PS3s, just tossing them into the audience.
Unboxed?
No, boxed.
I think they were boxed.
Like giant TVs into the crowd.
Sick.
Yeah, it was kind of like a hazard, actually. I don't know how you got away with that. But anyway, shout out to Action. But yeah, man, at that point, it was like, I want to go on tour.
Yeah.
It was conceivable to me at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, okay, I can try to do that, make that happen. And it happened. So once again, we're coming back to the older story. It was like 26. I'm like, the dream is to be a director.
Yeah.
So, I mean, again, it was the average thought process of, I want to be rich, possibly famous. I want to matter. I want to have cars. I want to have a big house. It was the general stereotypical stuff. Yeah. And then it transferred over time. I know what it is now. I know exactly what it looks like. And I think I'm maybe like 2 years behind that, like the ideal world of what it is. For me, in my progression, I think that every year that I progress, I feel more and more like myself, which might sound weird to say. Maybe it's easy to understand, and there's resonance there. What I mean by that is I've never really felt like myself. I've never really felt like the picture of me that's in my mind. I never really felt that way when I was a kid or when I was a teenager or even in my early adulthood. As of right now, I feel more like myself than I've ever felt.
That's good. Yeah. I understand what you mean. It's like you have this idea of, you see yourself a certain way, and then you work your entire life to have other, and it's not in a validation or needing validation kind of way, but it's like your vision for yourself is here, and then you work your entire life to figure out how to close that gap. I wanted to add something too to everything that you just said, like the process of trying to figure your journey out. I think like having those moments of like, okay, maybe I shoot weddings or maybe I do photos for concerts. Like, I feel like those things were necessary
to get to where you are.
Cause like the reason I say that, I've come across so many people that are like, want to do creative shit. And it's like, they jump straight to the end and have no concept of like the building blocks that are required. And it's not that they can't do it. They can. It's just, it's like, you got to create like the steps and the skills first. And obviously, like when we're young, you don't know what the hell you're doing. Like, I remember like when I was doing music early on, I was like, oh yeah, like I just like sent an email to like some random artist, right? And it's like, that's not how that works. It can work like that, but I guess what I'm trying to say is that it's kind of beautiful, like not knowing, and then you, because you have the drive to figure it out, you get all these great experiences that make you that much better now that you're here.
Oh yeah, 100%, man. I completely agree with you. I think it can happen the way that you described too, in terms of emails and apprenticeships. I'll also speak for myself in terms of filmmaking. Like, you can if you have somebody who knows how things work, that's the biggest thing. Knowledge is everything. Yeah. Like, if you're born into a situation, I don't even just mean like physically, but if you have somebody who knows how stuff works, they can point you in the direction to be like, oh, you need an apprenticeship. You should go shadow so-and-so. And then a lot of people can even do that. Yeah. If you read bios on like Wikipedia on how people became who they are, you can go read about how Fincher like went to the film school or whatever and got into music videos, and he did this and he did that. Some people can give you that direction, and then you're still missing half the whole thing, though, because nobody can make a phone call for you unless they know the people. Yeah. So, but certain folks have that too. So they can go get you the apprenticeship, or they can go get you on set. They can go point you in the direction. And then they say, well, you should go study screenwriting. Go take these screenwriting courses. Go to this specific school, this grade school or high school, this like magnet school or whatever it is, or specialized places to study these things. Learn screenwriting. Do short films. But if you're not in that sphere, and I'm speaking on like a social kind of aspect, then if you talk about the fiscal part of it, filmmaking is expensive. You got to go buy cameras that are like $2,000, which is actually nothing relative to how much actual cinema cameras cost, like upwards of $60,000, $100,000. But when you're 12, 15, you're trying to figure out how can I get a camera to go and shoot things.
Anything.
Much less take courses that might cost $500 to go and learn screenwriting. Much less like know what casting is or like know how to find actors. You know, you're doing whatever you can to just figure out how the form works. But I wouldn't have traded it, to your point earlier, I wouldn't have traded the experience of having to fumble my way around to figure out how this shit worked. Because like you do get all those experiences. I know, not that it's really all important now in the context that I work in now to know how a camera works, but I know exactly the science behind what's happening in this little box. I know how to work with people. I know how to connect with folks. I know how to get in and out of situations socially. I know how to appeal to people's psychology, their emotions, due to all these different things. So I wouldn't have traded it for anything else.
Exactly. Thank you for saying that.
Yep.
That was money.
I think the first film I ever watched from yours or from you was the film that you made for my dad's softball game. And but you made them a couple years, right? You made at least 2 or 3, right?
I think I did at least 3 of those, man.
Yeah.
Shout out to Mr. Warren.
And they were so, at least to me at the time, I was like, oh my God, Sterling's really good. So yesterday when you sent over the links to your most recent films, it was just so cool for me at least to see the jump in progression, the quality, right? From the last couple documentaries that you made, can you share any stories from Merman or from Kylie or just anything interesting regarding those two?
Yeah, no, absolutely. In my career thus far, actually my whole life, man, my biggest leaps come from being frustrated, like deeply emotionally and psychologically frustrated with whatever's happening. And then I kind of just say, I throw caution to the wind and say, I'm going to go do this thing over here.
Can you elaborate on the frustration? Like, what do you mean about when you say you're frustrated? Where is that stemming from?
Yeah, just general adversity, man. It's general adversity, but with most people on Earth, here's the thing. Everything stems from childhood. Everything stems from wanting to matter. Everything stems from wanting to be heard and seen. And depending upon where you stand on that sliding scale of having situations where people view you and see you and respect you, that can kind of determine how much you have a desire or a hunger for it. Now, anyway, when it comes to the frustration, the actuality of things that I've gone through, I've had people look down on me. I've had people not respect me. I've had people say, well, you can't do that, or dream on, man. That doesn't make any sense. I've been like beaten up, man, for like wanting to shoot videos and stuff. Like literally, like it's just like those things. And then later on in your career life, you get frustrated because people won't give you the shot. Sometimes people can be afraid of your very existence just because you're a 6'5" person who looks a certain way.
Yes.
And I've had that happen before just by standing there. So those things, people don't realize all experiences that the human goes through stick with you. And I think as a learning tool for everyone, you're going to go through adversity. The real key to success is being able to transmute those negative experiences into positive, usable energy, because that makes it useful. That makes it meaningful, no matter what it is. So when it came to Kylie was my first short documentary film that played at Sundance and Tribeca and like 30 other film festivals, which was great. That was the first time I was like, yo, this is about me and her in this project. I made that after being sort of like ousted by, some folks that I was working with at the time. This is like near COVID. And it was like, well, I have nothing to lose, man. I have nothing to lose. I just want to make this thing that I think is awesome. I don't know what it's going to do. Really, I just want to find out what the film festival circuit is like again. Because I hadn't made a film since I was 15.
Yeah.
So I wanted to go figure out what the film festival circuit and the culture was all about again. And that test turned into like meetings with A24 and like Sony and stuff at age 26 at Sundance Film Festival. And then I wanted to go back again. So I made another short documentary called Merman. And same thing, Sundance again, Tribeca again, partnerships with LA Times. And those things are really what gave me the confidence and the momentum to keep going in that direction of like, yo, if you just believe in yourself and the people around you and you work horizontally,
yeah,
that's really the magic. Everyone is actually looking toward the youth and trying to figure out what are they gonna do? People that are above you, they actually want you. They actually want what you have, which is the youth that you're just on your side. So when you work horizontally, meaning when you work with your peers versus trying to go and chase somebody ahead of you, that's where the real like magic is, man. That's how Kylie and Merman came about.
Cool, man. They were fun to watch yesterday, man.
That what you just said reminds me of something that Daniel said, and it'll actually lead to my next question. So something that I asked Daniel when he was on the pod, or we asked, was if you have any advice, if he had any advice, because I mean, obviously Jeff's like a high school teacher. It could also be for people that are listening to this, but like, it's more of like a self-reflection. Like if you could talk to yourself as a teenager, what advice would you give? Daniel's advice was, instead of looking up to people like that you want to be like or work with, look across, which I think is like exactly what you just described. What would yours be? What would your advice be to like a younger you?
Yeah, I didn't have the confidence to say I can just be me and follow the things that turn me on creatively. I didn't think it was like there was currency there. I didn't see it done anyway. I didn't know how that worked. I didn't know that you could just be yourself and be authentic to you and make things and that they'd be appreciated. But that's because nobody around me knew that. Nobody understood that. You have to discover that through going out and putting yourself out there to be like, oh, if you do that, that's appreciated by people across the world, across your state, in certain environments. Those happen to be film festivals. Those happen to be like art exhibits. But you don't know those things exist, and you don't know that you're able to do those things or be in those spaces until you just keep, plucking away. But I would have told myself, you just keep making your shorts, man. Keep making your shorts, and the right people will find you if you push your projects out into different environments. I always thought I had to make things make sense on like a physical level. So I was like, how do I go shoot wedding videos? How do I go shoot concerts and get paid for it? How do I go shoot music videos and get paid for it? Which is equally valid, because you want to make sure that things are making sense on the journey, because having a dream of being a director at 12 is cute. It's cute at 15. It's cute at 20. It gets less and less cute as you get older, unless it starts making sense. So, but things can make sense if you just follow what's most honest to you. Yeah. I always wonder what would have happened a little bit earlier if I would have made those shorts earlier on. But I don't dwell on that though, because at the end of the day, all I know is what's happening in the present.
Exactly.
And if you disrupt whatever happened in the past, you may not have turned out however the way things are anyway. So
Exactly. Well said. Do you have anything that you want to add?
Yeah, you talked about how Will kind of took you under his wing, right? So are you noticing now that you're, 30, are you trying to be the mentor to younger kids coming up in the industry as well?
Yeah, actually to a fault.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've had meetings with certain people who were kind of insane. Not to be ableist. I don't mean literally. I just mean like figuratively. Like I've had meetings with folks who I really shouldn't have actually.
Are they pitching you ideas, or what are they doing?
Pitching me ideas in the wrong way, offending people, my peers sometimes around. It's been interesting because I actually want to help people so much, because young people that want to do art, they remind me of myself.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I know how much you're in the dark and you don't know what direction to take. So for me, if I see anybody, I'm like, yo, I'll talk to them for hours and be like, hey, take everything I have, like my experiences, like everything, knowledge, so you can get there further, because I'm not like a mega rap fan or anything. I love all genres of music. So when I reference Tupac, I think he said in one of his interviews that like if I'm not the person to save the world or whatever, somebody that listens to me or that hears me might be the person that changes everything.
Yeah.
So even if everything stops here for me some kind of way, like creatively, like artistically, and I don't become like the next Christopher Nolan, maybe somebody that I help will become like the greatest multidisciplinary creative director, philanthropist afterward, humanitarian, steward of a better world because of a 2-hour conversation I had with somebody.
Right. Yeah. You and I have had conversations around this, and it's not to like, turn the conversation into something else that we're having right now, but this ties to a thought that I wanted to bring up, which is like, like social media, like Instagram was hot when we were in high school. And then like since then we went through the YouTube vlogger era and then the Instagram influencer. Now it's like the TikTok this. And then Jeff and I have talked about this on a few episodes in the past, how like now high school kids, you ask them what they want to be when they grow up. And it's like the majority are like, I want to be an influencer. I want to be a TikToker or whatever. And the reason I'm bringing it up is because of what you just described. I also have had a desire at times to like find someone, maybe it's with design or music or whatever, that I could at least like give some sort of help or insight to. But I think something that makes it very difficult is that it's very hard to find someone that just gets it, for lack of a better way to put it. It's like you need to have like the personality, it's okay to be hungry and driven and like think you're hot shit, but also like you also need to be self-aware and realize that you don't know shit. Like, and it's okay to not know things. And I think like primary, most important piece is the want, the willingness, but it has to be authentic. It has to be like, I love this thing. I love making art because it makes me feel all good inside. I'm like the little kid with the crayons, like. And then after that, it's like, okay, I don't care if I have to not sleep. I want to get this done. And it's so hard to find people like that. I think we had that. We still have that. It's like this, like, I don't give a fuck attitude. Like I'm gonna get it done. I will die before you beat me at anything type of mentality. And I'm not in the environment of
I don't have that.
Where no, like teenagers. Like I'm saying, like you're there, right? Every day, and like I'm just so curious what the youth is like, because like I don't know where that came from with me.
Yeah.
Or like like we have been blessed to meet a lot of amazing friends and people that have that, and I'm like, where does that come from? And is that going away because of like society and culture and the internet? Because it just looks so easy to grasp. All you got to do is do the dance.
And I know this is directed at you. I just, bro, I think there's a mix. This is going to sound crazy. Not really, actually. I think it's a combination of just the right amount of trauma.
For the kids?
Yeah. It's like the perfect amount of trauma, like just enough. And like a mixture of like knowing how to transmute that into something that's useful. Because, that's just real, man. I think any great artist, anybody who like is like just mega, it's not because like you had this intention to go like almost hurt yourself with how many hours you put into something. It's like lifting weights, man. Like you go there to hurt yourself on purpose almost. Mm-hmm. Like you're ripping muscle fibers. Logically, your body's saying stop, and you're forcing yourself to keep going because you know what comes out on the other side is like progress, right? That's right. But you're actually like destroying your muscles. It's kind of psychotic, actually. Mm-hmm. So it's a want to be like, if like we'd imagine what kind of childhood like Bezos had or like or Elon had. It's like you're trying to prove to the whole universe that you matter so much. That's like Prince, that's like Michael, that's like everybody, like it's like really dramatic amounts of like trauma. So it's a mixture of that and then a couple of good solid voices in your life who are like, you can do anything you want. A couple of voices. You need at least a couple of voices to be like, you can be whoever you want to be. You need both of those things though, in a certain kind of amount. For some reason, we were kind of in a vacuum at the time of like 5 people that were like that. You know,
it's weird.
Yeah.
We've quick little sidebar. And again, this is really good, but I just want to sidebar to this and say that this past week, Daniel was like, we should have a not for sale podcast where we can all just, cause I'm like, dude, like how crazy is it that we all like met each other and we've all done like really cool shit since, right? And it's like, I don't know. Like
that doesn't happen.
It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. So, and I'm obviously there's also other groups, right, that are maybe
doing their thing,
doing their thing or whatever. But it's just, it's always made me fascinated with reflecting on life and also just looking around at every week that we talking about your high school kids, and I'm like, why? Like, what is it like? What? Huh?
Do you think that like the youth right now, like here's what I postulate.
I'm 6'7".
So like,
don't do that right now.
Yo, the phrase, that's how you know
it's still going. It is still going.
I'm trying to be like make the super joke like, damn, dude, we're all old now. We don't know the lingo, but like that's actually like
that's
absurd. Yeah. I don't know what the hell that is. I had to look up like where's the lore to the 6'7" thing.
Mm-hmm.
But to my point though, yeah, man, like I think that my theory is that everybody knows that attention is the currency.
Yep.
So that's why you get like I want to become an influencer, because that is the thing that most represents a career that makes you matter to the most amount of people. And that used to be like in the 50s and below, that was like architects and philosophers and shit like that. Then it was rock stars in the 60s and 70s.
True. Then
it was like movie stars. It's been movie stars for a while.
Yeah. I know what you mean though.
Yeah. So like, what do you think about that?
So I see all types of kids because I work with different groups, right? So I see the kids that do have the motivation to be something. So in my AP senior class, I'm lucky to teach those kids that they're like you guys. I don't know if you took that class, it doesn't even matter, but they are going to be successful at something. It might not be academics in college, but they have the drive to keep going until they feel like they matter either to themselves or to other people. But then you also have a lot of kids as well at my school, at others, that they're not into anything. They're not passionate about anything. And those are the kids that I don't know how to teach or work with, because they come into my class and they're nice kids, but they just sit there. And you can do as much teaching or trying or coaching or instructing as you want. They're just going to sit there and they're going to take their F and they're just going to keep, passing through the system, which is a whole other conversation. But I do think there are still a lot of kids that are like you guys, are like me, are like, people that they wanted more for themselves and they weren't going to stop until they got there. Now, is it on the decline? That's a whole other conversation.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I want to transition. We already kind of started touching on it. Just growth lessons, life lessons through the journey. So let me read this next question that I have for you. You've moved between music video and commercial work and documentary/feature aspirations. What's been the biggest creative shift when you cross from the commercial stuff that you've done into more purpose-driven storytelling? I feel like we kind of touched on it, but if you can talk a little bit more about it.
Yeah, I never had to exercise the muscles in my creative career, muscles that I actually have developed to a decent degree of actually talking people through the psychology, motivation behind their decisions on screen. I mean, when I'm speaking to actors, because in music video land, you're doing that, but it's very superficial. It's you're using stupid phrases like give more energy. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Like, 2 more arms.
Right. It's like you can be as obscure as that. That doesn't apply to your treatments, of course, because you're having to actually like ideate and construct concepts and explain them, at least over the phone on a preliminary artist meetings and things like that.
Yeah.
But it's so much more of a graduation from that to, and then even commercials, talking to models. So as long as you know how you want somebody to pose, you can articulate that. That's kind of the whole thing. You don't have to go and say like, okay, it's 1970. The civil rights movement is happening. You just got back home to your wife from a protest, and you were just like mauled by dogs and fire hoses, and you have to go and tell her she's about to give you the news that you guys had a miscarriage. Like, you have to kind of draw an entire situation up
to put them in the mental space.
Put them in the mental space.
Yeah.
And you have to know the do's and don'ts of being a director with actors too, because I could have easily just have said, you're going to be sad when she tells you that you guys had a miscarriage and you need to cry and feel sad. That's like the biggest no-go zone. You don't do that. You don't tell actors how to feel. There's like a whole methodology to that.
And because you want them to bring their own?
Well, yes, because they're going to arrive where they need to go based upon the world that they're in, the mental state and everything that you kind of draw up. And it's actually offensive to tell an actor that. I didn't know that. So there's a whole new language that I've learned. But the muscles that are there, though, are really just knowing how to communicate with humans and understanding acute awareness of the human condition. That's really what, and I have that. Now it's a matter of knowing the language and the formalities to properly get it across.
Yeah, that makes sense. And thank you for explaining that, by the way. And that made me, I relate everything to music, but that made me think, that makes perfect sense, because that would be like telling an artist that's recording, like, how to enunciate, or like, it's like they're the artist, it's like the instrument, right? So yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Do you have any? I know you had some stuff down too, so I want to give you a chance to throw some questions in.
Now that you're making your own, what would it be called? Screenplays, where it's not a documentary, but it's what do you call it?
Well, that's what the paper's called.
Okay.
The genre is just narrative / scripted.
Are you more critical of other narrative that you watch? Like, do you see certain things? I'm not sure if you watch TV or not, but like, do you pick out certain things where you're like, I wouldn't have done that. I could do that better. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that I'm really like a fan of art. So like in film and television so much. I think something is really good when you're not in your critical filmmaker mind. If something is that good and you're so into it that you're just enjoying it passively, like just a casual viewer / pedestrian, consumer, that's like the best. And that can happen just because your mental state is in a certain place or whatever. But yeah, I mean, when I go to see a Christopher Nolan film, I'm there to be like, yo.
Yeah, you're a fan, right?
Yes. I'm also like, blow my mind. Like, I can't wait to see what he's going to do. If something, I have a hard time answering questions like that sometimes, because I'm like, who the fuck am I to say anything about anybody else's work? But I think generally, if something is maybe not as good, then I start seeing like different technical things that could be different. And that's when I start being more critical.
That's a good answer. Okay, so earlier you kind of touched on this already, but so in the creative journey that you've been on, do you feel, and I mean, it could be current or it could be like a time that you can remember where you felt significantly like behind or off track, or like you weren't quite getting the thing that you were pursuing? And if it is current or recent, it's something that you're working on, do you still feel it? And how do you manage the tension to still feel like creating?
Yeah, I think, again, I think this relates to an earlier question in terms of your vision for yourself at certain ages. I think everybody wants to be driving a Porsche GT3 RS at 22 and like seeing the world and hopping on private jets the way like Logan Paul and Jake Paul are. I think they're around like close to 30 now, but everybody runs around seeing that and saying, well, that seems awesome, And rightly so. It's cool to have envy, as long as it's once again, it's useful and you use it to be motivational for yourself. I always thought I wanted everything to come around like 27, like millions of dollars, fast cars, house, all that stuff. I wanted it by 27. I think just because I romanticized and I studied different people on their trajectory, and a lot of people that kind of like get into that zone around 27, 28, because you're still in your 20s, you're old enough so you're not really like an idiot. Because I think like before you're 27, as a metaphor, you're kind of driving drunk in your 20s. because you're not really fully developed yet. You're just kind of like just moving around the earth, like whatever. Oh, this is cool. That's cool. Let's do that. By 26, 27, 28, you're kind of becoming more fully formed consciously. And I thought that would be the cool like apex. And I think I'm in that apex. I think still around that time, things kind of came together. I went to those film festivals. I got into film again. I was making commercials for large lump sums of funding. So I'm getting close to those things. I'm in that apex right now of like, I want to see those M's in a serious way. I want to get the car. It's so close actually. But to your point, once again, I think I always feel behind all the time, actually. I think I constantly feel behind. There's like genius people on earth that I choose to compare myself to, even knowing that it's not healthy, because you don't know what people's circumstances are. It could be somebody who's like totally self-made, quote unquote, got it out the mud, who has no backing, no like generational kind of wealth or what have you. And I want to picture it that way because it makes me just want to like win that harder.
Yeah.
When in reality, a lot of times people's realities are so different. Their circumstances rather are so different to yours. Some of your favorite like YouTubers and personalities, they come from people that their families own like Lay's chips and shit like that, you know? So you're comparing yourself to things that you can't even see sometimes. Yeah. But for me, it's like a methodology to be like, whatever the circumstances are, I'm going to destroy that myself. Even if there's like a mountain of other things I can't see in the background that are helping that machine become what it is. But I always look to the geniuses, man. There's people that just have this like crazy sensibility and they're like 25, 26, just like ripping it, making movies, making commercials that are like mind blowing. And I think that for me, I've tried to catch up. The metaphor for me is like you're in a race on a track. And if there's 5 guys running, 5 people running, it's you and one other guy neck and neck. But that guy has like one leg up on you, like one stride that's ahead of you. And you're trying so hard to speed up, like hitting yourself against the wall every day, trying to catch up to pass him. And it's exhausting because it's effortless for that guy. I'm not saying that person doesn't work hard. That person works incredibly hard. But there's like, when you get to that close, that you're right there. That difference between, I'll use another sports term, like LeBron and whoever else is right behind him. It's like that 0.5% matters. And I can't seem to like, that's been the journey, is how do I push this a little bit harder? And you can hurt yourself doing that though. It's like a whole like, because I feel that way when I'm with Will actually, to be honest. Will has like, we're not peers, obviously. He's an incredible, like, fantastical legend and an amazing multi-hyphenate creative and entrepreneur. But it's like that guy has this thing. He has a battery. He doesn't run out of energy. And Will has gotten it out of the mud. That's somebody who like built everything himself. So for me, it's like the ultimate test of, can you do the same thing? Because he's done it. There was nothing backing him at the time. He came from a lot of love. Yeah. But he built everything he has. Yeah. And it's a great exercise trying to keep up with him because I can't naturally. I have to force myself into being sick for like a few weeks after we get done with whatever it is.
Whereas for him, it's just like, that's just how we operate.
He doesn't sleep, man. So me trying to chase that is like, it doesn't even work because you're just not, sometimes you're just not, it's just something different about it.
Yeah. Does he actually not sleep?
Not literally. It's just like, sometimes people can just exist off of 2-3 hours of sleep and just keep going. It's like, I don't know how that works. You know?
Yeah. No, I think you bring up some really good points. I mean, what's the saying? Like, comparison is the thief of joy. But it's a double-edged sword because it's like, it can be a negative thing, but it's also almost necessary. It's almost necessary for you to just be like, fuck, look at how like they got all that cool shit. I want that cool shit too.
Do you ever feel?
Get, you know,
sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that's what drives you.
Do you ever feel a case of the imposter syndrome coming in, and what do you do to get that out of your head? Because I feel it a lot at school. I don't know if Adrian feels it with his stuff.
No, for sure.
So do you feel that ever? And what do you do with it?
Yeah, I think in anything that you're doing for the first time, or that it's been the first couple of years of doing something, I think I always feel that. And I felt that way even after those couple of years passed by for years, or excuse me, for a while. I've been to events where I've been around other directors and creatives and artists, and I felt like I wasn't supposed to be there, even though I had some bona fide like credits
or whatever
credentials. I don't feel that way as much anymore.
Good.
It's a mixture of I just don't give a shit, and there's also a mountain of accomplishments and achievements that also rationalize the thinking. Because it's kind of like you make the intangible in your mind tangible in the world, and those superficial decorations, they matter. They actually matter to some degree, at least just for confidence. Like, I made Forbes 30 under 30 this year. That was cool.
Congrats again.
Thanks so much. The Sundance situation 2 years in a row. Music videos that have tens of millions of views on YouTube and such, and commercial campaigns. After a while, it's almost irrational to think anything else.
Obviously, like, we're in two completely different fields, but I'm really glad that you asked that question, just because, I mean, the whole theme of the podcast, right? Midlife crisis. It's silly, but it's
real.
It's based on, oh shit, we're 30 now? Like, where'd the time go? And then now it's like everyone that's our age, you grew up experiencing the internet and, like, you know, the end of the 90s and the 2000s and the rise of social media. And we don't necessarily, I mean, at least maybe I'm just speaking for myself here. I still feel young.
Yeah.
But we are 30. I don't know what the fuck 6'7" means. Like,
not that young.
Like, you know, so exactly. We're a little removed, right? So it's like finding that balance of like, okay, life isn't over, but I've learned things and I feel confident in who I am now. There was a long time where I was like, fuck, what am I doing? Like, do I belong here? You know, whether it's like creative practice or at work or whatever. And like the topic of imposter syndrome is real. And like, I know, like, even for me with what I do for work specifically, like, that has been or had been a feeling. It's gone away. It's gone away. I also think that it's healthy to have a little bit of it,
for sure.
Just so that you have like the ability to be open and learn. Because, you know, I think learning can come from anyone. Yeah. Not just people that are further ahead than you are or smarter. Sometimes it comes from the kid in the room or whatever.
If you don't have it a little bit, you probably get stagnant.
You get stagnant. You get maybe a little too arrogant, too big-headed. Yeah. Which I've been those too. But anyway, to bring it back to you, I wanted to ask you this. At this phase that you're in now, okay? What do you think you're more conscious of you're 30, right? 30? At 30 than early 20s?
I'm more conscious now because I'm more conscious of my overall appearance, because I'm starting to look my age now. There's not this ambiguity of like, is that guy 20? Like, no, he looks like, and I have a baby face, but it's like, no, you're probably like late 20s, and 30 is palatable of like a guess of how old I am. So that's been a new adjustment. I don't really go outside, man. But when I have as of late to just kind of like meet people and connect, it's like, oh wow, you know, they're early 20 guys that are wearing different clothes. It's like, yeah, much larger jeans. And I have my pairs of stuff that are a little less form fitting too. But it's so interesting seeing that difference of clothes. It's like sportswear. It's like early 2000s hip hop wear, but everybody's doing it now. It's like every demographic is wearing like big jeans, trainers, and like a hoodie, and like everywhere. There's no like change of venue, a change of attire. It's like they're just doing it everywhere, unless it's like a very formalized event.
At the club, at home, at work.
So that's different. Yeah, but my health is I'm actually the healthiest I've ever been, minus some very specific acute situations. But
I'm in the gym all the time. I feel like I don't have any joint pain or back pain. I feel great. I feel the best I've ever felt, actually.
That's good.
It's
Nice,
great.
dude. Can't say I feel the same. Is there something you want to share about before we transition to the fun stuff? It can be anything, something that it could be like something that's been on your mind recently related to what you do with film or anything, like your experience.
Yeah, I think I gave the sauce really. Yeah, I gave a soundbite earlier concerning transmutation of negative experiences into usable energy and motivation. That's really the key to everything. Because you can choose how to feel and how to react to things. You can't control anybody else on this earth, but you can control yourself. You can control how you rationalize events. You can control how you react to things. You can control what you're going to say next. If you can control yourself, then you can master the world. And that's limitless. Because really, if you want to get into the existential part of it, we're all actually kind of the same. Like, we're just like contained consciousness in different formats with different unique experiences. Like, everything from when you're born to the way that the wind hits your face for the first time, to the time you had to tie your shoes, to the love you got or didn't get from your mother, to the first bully you meet in school, to the first soda you drink. It's all like these infinite amounts of different experiences that change the way that we interact with each other. When you can recognize that the person in front of you is just a curated version of the same energy you are, you can communicate and get through anything, because you can like figure out, okay, this person's triggered, or they're unhappy, or it's not me, it's something that I brought out of them because of a prior experience. You can like get through any kind of scenario. So for me, it's like you have no reason to really be mad most of the time, a lot of the time, because you can rationalize somebody's experience and say, oh, that's why they're upset. Oh, that's why they did this to me. That's why they did X, Y, and Z. Now, it's easier said than done, depending on the severity. Yep. Depending on the severity, that goes out the window. But as a function of the universe, I think that's a pretty nuanced and valid concept.
I like that, and I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Now, shameless plug. One of my short documentaries, Fenice. It's about this multi-hyphenate creative, Sabrina Leseg. We're actually campaigning it for the Oscars. So we're in our 4-year consideration campaign. It just got put into the Academy screening room, and we're super stoked about it. This is my second try effort at trying to get a nomination or a shortlist or the actual trophy, statue rather.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really stoked on that. We worked hard on that project. It's about Sabrina Leseg's passing of anti-sexual assault legislation banning the destruction of rape kits, after being a survivor herself. She's an incredible director, actress, creative, screenwriter, pageant woman. She does so many things. So we're really stoked to see how far this project can go. And you can't watch it anywhere, but you know any Academy voters.
Mm-hmm. Will we be able to watch it at some point?
We'll know soon.
Okay.
The only place you can watch it is in the Academy screening room. It's only available to Academy's members.
Okay.
So
Congrats on that.
Thanks so much.
Okay. You have been killing it. I mean, I feel like whenever I get the chance to hit you with a phone call, if you're not too busy, I try to say my congrats every single time and how proud I am, because I know. I mean, come on, dude. We've known each other for like how many years now? Fuck, like, is it more than half our lives now?
It's over 10 at least.
That's
yeah.
Well, anyway,
so it might be like 15 at this point. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, thank you, man, for coming on. Quick side story: I was coming home from Victorville Golf yesterday, CIF Golf. That's why we couldn't record yesterday. And East LA came on the radio, and I was like, I get to talk with the guy that shot this video tomorrow. And I told this to my player who was in the car with me, and she was like, no way. And I was like, yeah, pretty cool. So
that's nuts, man.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. It's crazy. This isn't a long story or anything. When I'm driving around sometimes in LA, I'll be at a red light. I'll hear
like East LA playing from somebody's car. And I'm
Yeah.
like, what? What the fuck is that? That's crazy.
Yeah.
Doing that video is really dope. You know, Will.i.am and I directed it together. That was a really good experience. That's also in a 4-year consideration campaign for the Grammys. So see what happens.
Dude, so cool.
Banger of a song. Okay, so what we want to do is end this episode segment with you. We're gonna end with something that's a little more fun and relatable, lighthearted, in the spirit and theme of the whole podcast,
Midlife Crisis.
So I wanted to ask you what your midlife crisis purchase or hobby is, if you have one.
And if I were to do that, I would have done it already. If I was gonna do that, like, which I'm really hoping I'm not making a mistake by not doing something like totally selfish and like just for the flex. I really like. I'm trying to be so frugal right now and so like disciplined, because I'm always like, oh no, that should go to your high yielding savings account, your Roth, your E-Trade, your high dividend stocks. Like, just keep that going and you'll be fine forever. But it's like, damn, I kind of want the C8. I want the Z06. I want the 700 horsepower. I want the flat plane crank V8. The funny thing about it is, man, I'm actually a very simple person when it comes to like things. Like, minus like a watch, the car, and the house, which are the only things I really care about at this point, but they take a lot of money to do. It's like I'll wear the same like $50 jeans, some boots from like a corner store, and black t-shirts. I would dress like that forever if I could.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with that.
So it's kind of like I just kind of want to keep building and see if I can really buy my freedom back in a serious way.
For sure. I think we should all aspire to do that.
Yeah.
Okay. How about this then? If you can give us a starting 5 of something, and this is all based on, at the end of every episode, we have like a 5v5 draft, and usually it's like something silly. For you, it doesn't have to be silly, but just like anything off top. It could be a top 5. It could be memories, basically like a highlight reel
Of your life.
Just like top 5, like, oh, when I did this is like, peak.
Oh man, that's hard to do on the spot. I think it's a great question and a great gesture. If I have to make an effort in real time, I think that film festival at 15 in my first short, that was really part of my formative development creatively. I think going on tour with artists and seeing the world and seeing how different people from different walks of life are and operate, that was beautiful. There's nothing like tasting like a gyro, like a doner kebab in like Berlin, Germany.
Sick.
And then learning that afterwards, the reason why a Middle Eastern dish is served best in Germany is because like the best people who made it emigrated. That's why they're making the best version of that dish. Or like going to Dubai, seeing like the whole city that hasn't been there since like 50 years ago. Like going to France. That stuff was so eye-opening and so enriching to my life. And it was a goal of mine to see everything like that. And then later on, putting everything, caution to the wind, and doing your own thing, short films, and saying, I want to go to Sundance and I want to see that and participate and go to a place of such like rich history of cinema. Getting to do that and being invited, that was a really strong moment. Doing commercial campaigns and music videos and achieving things like on a fiscal level, being competent, being able to say, I can afford this, I can do that, I can make things happen. That's been a beautiful thing. Achieving Forbes 30 under 30 at 29.
I was like, that has to be on there.
That was really great. At this point, being able to say, I'm making feature length films. It's like, we got to the place, we got to the league. Now we get to participate on a world stage, hopefully.
Nice.
Cool, man.
Thanks for coming on, man.
Pretty awesome.
Yeah. So we're going to do the rest of our episode. Would love to have you do it, and you can listen to us and participate. We hope you participate.
Thank you, man, for coming. We really appreciate it. And you did amazing.
Yeah.
Thanks so
killed
much.
it with the answers.
Yeah.
Super appreciative, I think there was only like a couple of things there, like 2 things that, watch out for to
For sure.
chop out, but standing. Thank you guys so much for having me. I appreciate it. It's been an honor and a privilege.
All right. Let's go on to our usual run of show, episode 31.
Let's take a break real quick. I got to pee again.
And let's take a break.